The Celtics blow another double-digit lead. This time it's 14 points, Jimmy, against the New York Knicks. I mean, I guess
just another day in Celtics land, man.
Compared to what happened Friday night. I am Josue Pavon alongside Jimmy Toscano for the first time since 2020. Welcome back, Jimmy.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Josue.
They gave you a heck of a game, but I mean, not
I got
the
my money's
performance. Yeah, you got your money's worth. But man, double overtime. The Celtics come up short. It was Al Horford who forced the second overtime, but came up short in the end. The shot that mattered the most, the game winner, the potential game winner, is off the mark from Jason Tatum, and the Celtics pick up another L. Jimmy, what's your biggest takeaway? I mean, we can get into the whole are you concerned and all that. We'll get to that after.
That'll be on the next video. How about that?
Or you know what, maybe at the end of this one, but we'll see.
Sure.
Let's give me your level of concern right now.
Or you want to go concerned? I mean, I am concerned because for me, what stands out to me in this game was the lack of execution down the stretch. The inability for the Celtics, it seems like they're just not on the same page. And I don't know if that's coaching issue. I don't know if that's players just not understanding the situation. And I feel like it's at that point in the game, closing seconds, whether it's a tie game, whether you're down by it's a one-possession game, it's situational basketball. You should know what you're running, where it's going, who it's going to. I want option A, option B. There shouldn't be Tatum waving guys left and right, and you should be over here, and you should be over there, and Joe having to call a timeout after a failed execution. Like that's sloppy basketball. That's not the mark of a championship team. And these guys have one goal: to become NBA champions. So the level has to be much higher than what it was tonight. And I'm not saying that they didn't show effort, because they did, but they blew the lead, as you mentioned. They allowed, I think, the Knicks to just grab all that momentum at the end of that third quarter with that Randall corner three at the buzzer. That flipped the script of that game because they had a lead going into that. And you let a worse team come into your building and I would say outwork you. And the Knicks are, if nothing else, they work damn hard under Coach Tibbs. So you saw it tonight, whether it was Quickley, whether it was Randall, those guys got into the Celtics. They were dancing up and down the court, Josue.
Yeah, Quickley was dancing all over the parquet. Immanuel Quickley finishing with a team-high 38 points in this one.
Balled out.
Tatum finished with a game-high 40 points. But, like you said, Jimmy, it came down to late game execution for sure. But also came down to the other guys, at least for the New York Knicks, right? I mean, I think we saw some of that from the Celtics in terms of Derek White. I mean, look, all five starters scored in double figures. Marcus Smart fouled out in this one. But look, you talk about late game execution. Of course, you're alluding to Joe Mazzulla forcing himself to call a timeout when he didn't like what he saw between Jalen and Jason at the end.
Every week there's another timeout gate situation going on.
Well, at the end of this one, though, at least he called it. He called it. He got
did
it
call
right this
it.
time. But did Jalen wait a little too long to get Tatum that ball? I mean, was there a little miscommunication there? How do you see it?
Yeah, that's my concern, is that there's miscommunication.
This is after the first overtime, excuse me.
Right, yeah, there's so many overtimes and end of regulation games here. But, yeah, it just feels like they need to be on the same page going down the court. They need to know what sets they're running, when they're going to be there. It's like timing in football. You got to know when that pass is being thrown, when to turn, when to cut. You're calling the play at the line, right, in football. In basketball, you're calling the play right out of that inbounds or right out of the missed free throw or whatever it is. If you're not calling a timeout, you already know it's because you already know what's coming, right? There isn't all this, he needs to be here, or who should get the ball. And there needs to be more assertiveness, I think, from the Celtics, not second guessing. It almost feels like in those situations, who's calling the shots and who wants the shot? So that was my main takeaway from this one tonight is, when it mattered most, it felt like the team was out of sorts. And, yeah, you can make the case that it should have never gotten to that point. That's a whole other topic of this team not being able to put teams away at home now. So that's a completely different concern. But for me tonight, it was just the execution down the stretch.
And, of course, Derek White mentioning the fact that the Celtics team...
Where was Derek White in overtime,
They need to find their swagger back. Well, I guess he was waiting for Marcus Smart to foul out.
I guess so, but he should be getting more minutes. Yeah. He's their sturdiest hand right now in the guard position.
It sounds like you're trying to say the Celtics have a Joe Mazzulla problem or a coaching problem, if you will.
I'm not calling it a problem, but certainly the questions, and we're starting to see it, on our CLNS postgame show, the comment section... They're starting to turn here. Yeah. It's getting to the point where there's been some questionable calls or non-calls or non-timeouts, and I think the natives are starting to get a little restless, for sure.
All right. Well, okay. We'll try to talk you guys through this. And, of course, we got to give a shout-out to our sponsor, Athletic Greens. Head over to athleticgreens.com/garden. Get a year's supply of Athletic Greens AG1. You also get 5 free
supply of vitamin D.
Year supply of vitamin D.
Yeah, you got to get your D, man.
And 5 free travel packs of that vitamin D just for watching us on the CLNS Media Garden Report. That's all right, Jimmy. No one noticed. That's athleticgreens.com/garden. And Derek White talking about this team needing to get their swagger back. I mean, Joe Mazzulla, I'll give you this one, guys, for Celtics fans, right? For people saying that Joe Mazzulla sometimes is too everything's going to be okay type of coach, right? This was the angriest I've seen Joe Mazzulla.
Really?
When they gave up that lead, yeah, Jimmy, when things were tied up. Now, this wasn't during overtime. This was in regulation. The Celtics were still obviously in it, but they gave up a huge lead. And it was the first time where I've seen him like kind of throw the clipboard type of thing, walk away, pace himself, and then return to the group. And I just felt like the team did respond, but it wasn't throughout. Were these guys tired? I mean, you can say that, of course. I mean,
I don't buy
playing
that
over 50 minutes. Hey, double overtime. Maybe he should have made a substitution. Like you said, maybe Derek White should have been in the game to start the overtime. Maybe he messed up there a bit. But we also got to give credit to the New York Knicks as well. The New York Knicks are on a roll right now, but the Celtics did have this one in their hands, and they let it slip away.
They did. I mean, yeah, the Knicks are when it comes to teams that are hot, they're the hottest team, I think, in the NBA. Was it 9 straight now?
Yeah. Well, after the Bucks just lost to Philly.
Right. I mean, the Bucks are right there with them. And the two teams that the Celtics might see in the playoffs at some point, and they're playing great basketball. The Celtics, on the other hand, if the playoffs were to start today, I would not be confident in the Celtics right now because they're not playing.
Really?
They're not playing a winning brand of basketball, Josue. Even the games that they win, they're barely eking these games out. So
if it's the best of 7 against the Knicks. You
Right.
might have a point there.
Right. I mean,
Yeah,
the
it
way
could be
the
a
Knicks,
7-game series.
yeah, the way the Knicks are playing right now, they're just
Right.
playing hard, right? They don't have the most talented roster. Everybody knows that.
Right.
But and they didn't even have. We didn't even mention. They didn't even have their best player tonight. By the way, Jalen Brunson was ruled out of this game right before the game. Woke up with soreness in his foot. No idea what that's about. Hopefully something serious on his end. But for the Celtics to once again let that affect them, and we saw it happen with Oklahoma City when SGA didn't play. They didn't come in ready to play, and they lost that one. So when teams aren't showing up with their full roster, Celtics can't take advantage of it, and that's a problem. You have to have that killer instinct, that killer mentality. And again, I don't know if that's a message that needs to be coming down from the coach. I don't know if that's a message that needs to be coming down from Tatum and Brown, the leaders on this team. But I'm not seeing that tenacious style of play that I saw from the Celtics team at this point in the season last year.
Right.
Remember what we were all saying about this team? They're best defense in the NBA. They're suffocating you on the defensive end. Their offense, their good defense is leading to offense. When you see a team shoot 53s or whatever it is, that's not a team that's running out in transition, in my opinion. That's a team that's coming off of points being scored, or maybe they're just walking the ball up and they're settling for threes. I want to see this team more aggressive. I want to see them run and gun. I want to see them scoring in transition, using their athleticism to take it to teams that way.
Right.
Don't be on your heels on the defensive end and then walk the ball up and then just hope that your three's going to go in. I know that they're a three-point shooting
we saw
team.
some of that for sure. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Jimmy. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was too little too late, you can say. But at the same time, though, this is sort of a characteristical problem, right? I feel like the Celtics are just in their own way right now. And, of course, going up against a hot team like the New York Knicks didn't make things any easier. And they don't have a whole lot of time to dwell on this because the second night of a back-to-back finds them in Cleveland, facing the Cavaliers. We'll talk more about how the Celtics
6 hours from now, right?
We'll talk more about how the Celtics can bounce back against the Cavaliers in our second video. So stay tuned for that. He is Jimmy Toscano. I am Josue Pavon. The Boston Celtics lose in double overtime, 131-129 against the New York Knicks. Stay tuned for video 2.